Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to build this custom steel stair railing you see right here. Let's jump right in. Alright, so what I've done here is I've taken the drawing of a staircase and created a 1-to-1 ratio drawing. So essentially I have the full-size staircase laid out on the table, each tread. That way I can choose where each picket goes, get my spacing perfect. These pickets are going to be inserted into the treads. I'm also going to have a lamb's tongue down on the bottom. The top rail is going to become the lamb's tongue and go all the way down to the floor. So it's nice to have this drawn out full size so I can just have it perfect here in the shop. That way I'll take it to the job site. Fits right in perfect. We don't have any issues. I'm going to go ahead and lay out the top rail now. Kind of design my lamb's tongue, get it looking how I want, and then we'll bend the top rail to fit it. Alright, I got my lamb's tongue drawn out here. As you can see, I went over it with the red paint marker just so we're less likely to lose the lines here, because I'm going to be working on it a lot. I don't want to rub off the soapstone and have to redraw this thing. I'm going to take this piece of 2x4 and bend it in my little simple jig here, no fancy tools for this. And just shape it to this radius here, shape another piece for that inside radius, and then we'll take the top rail, stick it in the forge, get it nice and hot, and bend it right around both of those. Alright, I want to give you a quick overview of what we're about to do before we jump into the time lapse. As you can see, I got all the pickets cut. They're not welded on or anything yet. And this is the little short section that's going to be on the left side of the stairwell when you walk up to the stairs. I'm going to put a little bevel on the bottom of all the pickets so they don't mess up the treads while we're trying to put them in. It'll be a little bit easier to get them in the holes that will be drilled in the treads. These are going to be inserted about halfway into the treads, half the thickness of the tread. You want some meat left on the tread so you're not falling through. Yeah, I got a few things I got to do. I'm going to get those cleaned up. I'm going to put some spacers under here, whatever. I'm going to figure out what that needs to be so we're perpendicular with the top rail. And then I'll be cutting the top rail right here and putting a little drop tab underneath the rail with a couple of countersunk holes into it so we can screw that into the wall. I still have to drill the holes in the lamb's tongue here, and on the bottom here, the bottom of the lamb's tongue, I'm going to have to build that material up a little bit. We'll figure that out because otherwise you're going to be able to see the screws that are going into the floor. Alright, so I made first weld on the splice here, just the top of it, and then I'll flip it over and do the back side. But before I flip it over, I'm gonna let this thing cool down to where you can touch the weld with your hand. That way we don't have any warping going on. Also, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna knock this weld down with the grinder and bring it flush with the top of the railing here. That way when I flip it over and clamp it to the table, it's not putting a bow in the railing. So there's what the splice looks like right now. Not too bad. I still got to touch up a few spots with the grinder. I'll be able to get to them a little better once I get it oriented a little different. But yeah, not too bad. Once you get the powder coat goes on there, you won't be able to see that at all. So that's going to get welded on right there. And again, that swoop is going to be going this direction and then running into this piece. To keep the profile the same, I'm going to have to miter this this way. That. And the other piece, you're going to have to swoop and come in perfectly flat in order to match this profile on top here. That's going to be fun. Show you what I got going on here. Okay, so this is what we're working with. The railing I have on the table right here is going to be coming up this set of stairs, and then right here is where we're looking at right now, and it's going to do a 180-degree turn and continue up the stairs this way. Now, I was just doing some figuring. I'm going to figure out kind of a roughly where this needs to end up. But what I'm going to end up doing is just leaving it a little long, and that way we can just cut it on the job site right where it needs to go, instead of trying to make it perfect and then coming up a little short. That would not be good. And my table's not quite long enough. I mean, I'd have to draw all the other steps on the next section, and I don't have room on the table to do that. So I would be guessing where this next tread, well, where the railing will be on the next tread. So I'm going to get a rough idea where it's at and figure out what the center line of this railing to the center line of the next railing is going up. Make that little bend, and I can weld that up here in the shop. But then we're going to have one weld to make on the job site at this junction, and then another one at the very top where it turns into a flat section of railing. Okay, here's a quick sketch. Hopefully I can make this make sense. This is the grab rail coming up that we just made the hangers for. Left to right, this is drawn to scale. Up and down, it is not. So mainly what I was trying to figure out was how wide I needed to make this bend so that it lines up. with this being vertical and this being vertical. We're going to have an inch clearance from the tread of number 8 to the grab rail here, and then 3 inches down here, which, I mean, that's just how it worked out. That's how far past this tread is from the wall we're clipping into. So pretty good size gap down here, but that's what we had to do. Again, we're going to go ahead and make this piece here out of the top rail. We're going to leave this section longer than what we're going to need. That way, whenever I build the next section of railing, I can get a measurement, and that'll tell me exactly where I need to cut this off so everything lines up. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this piece bent up and keep moving forward, and then we'll splice it on right in here. This isn't exactly how this looks, but there's a 45 here. You've seen it on the other piece. But yeah, that's going to get spliced together. I'll blend that in, make it look nice. Alright, so I finally got this thing figured out. I've elevated the handrail off the table in order to get this to the proper distance. I had to put a spacer under here because of where the wall mounts are. Anyway, finally got it figured out. This is that crazy joint, as you can see here. Got everything nice and plumb, square to the table. You might be able to see that laser line coming in from over here. I've run that all over the place getting this thing perfect, so hopefully we don't have any issues when we go to install this. I'll put some clamps on here before I weld it, but I gotta bevel this so I can get plenty of penetration on that weld. This one's gonna be a little bit trickier to clean up and have it looking the way it should. Alright, so I've got the grab rail that's going to be on the right side of the staircase lifted up off the table so that the wall hanger is centered. I have to lift it up a little more to get that one centered. The wall, where it connects on the wall, is 2 different levels. So yeah, we're going to get that tacked up in just a minute. I'm going to tack these and then move it over to the edge of the table and clamp it down so that weld doesn't draw and put a little bend in the grab rail. These are a little longer than usual because this step where the wall pokes out a little bit and then the tread pokes out a little further than normal, so I had to make these a little extra long. Alrighty, making a little adjustment here. I should have seen it sooner, but here we are. So these little saucers, the center line, in order to get this square to the top rail here, this center line is sitting lower than the center line here, so we're gonna have to lift this up slightly. I think an 1/8 inch will do it, so I'm just gonna put a little 1/8 inch spacer under this and then line everything back up. Alright, well, I thought I was down to my last piece, but after double checking the measurements on this, let's see if you can make this out. Oh, there you go. So 127, basically 128 inches right there. That is the toe of tread 8 to the toe of tread, or the landing toe of tread 18. So yeah, 128 inches. My table is not 128 inches. It's 108 inches. So I could add another, I could add to the table and make it long enough, but I still have to add to the other end so that when I put the pickets on the top rail, it's actually on the table. And considering I have a swoop going on up here that has to connect to the next section of railing, I don't think it's going to be feasible to make this in one piece. Probably going to end up splitting it in the middle, somewhere in the middle. I've got 7-foot pieces for my top rail, so if I do split it, I'll just start at the bottom and end up wherever 7 foot gets me. To show you real quick how this joint's going to be coming together. This is where it's turning flat. Something like that. Let's see, more like this. Right in there. So we gotta weld that up and blend it in. And then this piece is going to sit here. And then the little swoop on the grab rail is going to come up and join right there. So we're going to put some bevels on those pieces and start getting them welded up and cleaned up. Alright, what I'm doing now is just laying out the all the pickets. There's slight variations on the depth of each tread, very slight, so we're getting pretty consistent. Alright, just going to write down the length for each of my pickets. Got all the ones with the discs. Cut the length, angle on one end, slight bevel on this end, once again, so it's easier to put into the treads once we drill a hole in the tread. But yeah, I'm just going to write down the lengths that I need to cut the rest of the pickets without the saucers. Roughly 5/8 inset into the tread. Alright, I got all my pickets cut to length, wire wheeled them. They're getting a little rusty, so I got all the rust off of them. But anyway, we're going to get these all lined up, got some spacers, just going to get them tacked on, flip it over, weld the back side, flip it back over, weld this side, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, what we're looking at here is the swoop. This is climbing the stairs, and then a swoop up to the flat section on the very top. This railing is going this direction. So if you can picture that coming out of the table, this is the end where we have a 90-degree turn into this swoop here. So I just got this drawn out on the table here. This is the section I built in 2 pieces, so we're going to have to get the other section that I already built and figure out how to hold that up in the air, hanging off the end of the table. So that should be interesting. Alright guys, finally got done with the last piece of the stair railing. Probably didn't get very good footage on this, sorry about that. Came out here this afternoon just really trying to get this thing finished so I can get it loaded on the trailer tomorrow and head up north with it the next day. Alright, just got the stair railing loaded on the trailer. We're going to head up north to get it powder coated and installed. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video.